Children, let us understand the story, The Sound Mission. It's in page number 99 in your book, story number 9. It is written by Roald Dahl and it is about a science fiction. It's a science fiction. Fiction means an imaginary story, and it is an interesting story that hovers between illusion and reality, appearance and reality. And it's all about a man, a protagonist, Klausner, who has an obsession with the sound. So, how he is after the sound, and that is an interesting story. Here, let's go to the story, page number 99. It was a warm summer evening, and Klausner walked quickly through the front gate and around the side of the house and into the garden at the back. He went on down the garden until he came to a wooden shed, and he unlocked the door, went inside, and closed the door behind him. The description about the protagonist, Klausner, where he stayed, and the time the story is about a summer, warmer evening time, and he was there in a house and around the side of the house and into the he was walking and quickly to one of the wooden shed. There he went inside and closed the door. He opened the wooden shed and went inside and closed the door and kept himself inside the wooden shed. So Klausner is there in a wooden shed. You should have an imagination where the person is there and what he is doing. The interior of the shed was an unpainted room. So the description of the shed, and he was sitting in such a place that wooden shed was not painted. Against one wall on the left there was a long wooden workbench. So it's like a workshop, and a big long wooden bench is kept in that wooden shed, and on it, among a littering of wires. Littering means like it is not in an orderly manner, full of wires like garbage is there, and batteries. So that room is filled with wires and batteries and small sharp tools, and sharp tools to make the machine. There stood a black box about 3 feet long, the shape of a child's coffin. So here it's like a small wooden box, like a child's coffin, with the size they are telling. So a box with latch and everything. There was a box on the wooden bench, and Klausner moved across the room to the box. So he crossed the Klausner moved across the room to the box. So he is going close to the box. The top of the box was open. He just opened the box and he bent down and began to poke and peer inside it among a mass of different colored wires and silver tubes. So they were full of wires and silver colored tubes. He picked up a piece of paper that lay beside the box. It's like a traumatization, and it's clearly described about the box. So he picked up a paper, studied it carefully, and he is going through the things which is written in the paper very carefully, put it down, peered inside the box, and started running his fingers. So he is so like a man who is working very actively along the wires, tugging gently at them to test the connection. So he is just fixing the wire and testing the connections, glancing back at the paper, then into the box. So he is comparing what is written in the paper and checking and keep on doing it. Then at the paper again checking each wire. He did this for perhaps an hour. So the action of Clownser is entirely not normal. So in an abnormal way he was doing that work in that workshop. Then he put a hand around to the front of the box where there were three dials. So there were three dials, and he began to twiddle them. So he just turned it here and there, watching at the same time the movement of the mechanism inside the box. So he was just rotating and then checking the machine, like that he was keep doing it. All the while he kept speaking softly to himself, nodding his head. All his actions says that how he is after something in an abnormal way, and smiling sometimes, his hands always moving, the fingers moving swiftly and in an abnormal way, deftly inside the box, his mouth twisting into curious shapes. He is changing his mouth, lips, and here and there when a thing was delicate or difficult to do, saying yes, yes, and now this one, yes, yes, but is this right? Is it where's my diagram? So he is speaking to himself. Oh, yes, of course, yes, yes. So he was doing all that checking. That's right. And now, good, good, good. Yes, yes, yes. His concentration was intense. So he was so involved in that work, and his intense means deeply he is involving in that work. His movements were quick, there was an air of urgency, so he is in an, like that he is in urgent to complete that work. About the way he worked, of breathlessness, of strong suppressed excitement, he was so excited to find out something, and he was doing in such a manner. Suddenly he heard footsteps on the gravel path. Gravel means the stoned path outside, and he straightened and turned swiftly as the door opened and a tall man came in. It was Scott. It was only Scott the doctor. So there came a man, a tall man who was the doctor Scott. Well, well, the doctor said, so this is where you hide yourself in the evening. So the doctor just questioned him. So every evening you hide yourself inside this wooden house, what? Hello, Scott, Klausner said. So Klausner invited him, welcomed him. I happened to be passing, the doctor told him. The doctor just was passing that way. So I dropped in to see how you were. There was no one in the house, so I came on down here. How is that throat of yours been behaving? It's all right. It's fine. So the doctor, a family doctor, he always comes and visits him, and he came to his house. There he was not there. So he straight away walked into this room where Klausner was, keep himself busy in working something. So he was inquiring about his health because he had some problem in his throat earlier. So he gave some treatment. So he is wanting to see that how it works and how his throat is now. So he said it's all right, it's fine. Now I'm here, I might as well have a look at it. Please don't trouble, I'm quite cured, I'm fine. So the doctor wanted to check him again, but as he has come to his house to do his duty to give him further treatment. So he wanted to check his throat and want to give him any more medicine or not. He just asked him, Klausner, as I am here, I want you to be checked and your throat to be checked, and he wanted to check him. But what he said that, please don't trouble, I'm quite cured, I'm fine. So Klausner didn't want to have a check of his throat. The doctor began to feel the tension in the room. He looked at the back box on the bench, then he looked at the man. You have got your hat on, he said. So the doctor was watching the man who is so busy in his work, and he was keep doing here and there, and that black box which is kept there on the bench. So you have got your hat on, he said. So he said that you have so busy in this work. So, oh, have I? Klausner reached up, removed the hat, and put it on the bench. He was keeping the hat and keep doing the work, and was not even knowing that he has kept the hat and doing the work. And Klausner went near to him. And the doctor went near to him and Remove the hat, put it on the bench. Oh, have I? Klausner reached up, removed the hat, and put it on the bench. The doctor came up closer and bent down to look into the box. What is this? He said, making a radio. So the man was busy working in that wooden house, and in that box, what he was making out of that box, he is making a radio. No, just fooling around. It's got rather complicated looking innards. Yes, Klausner seemed tense and distracted. So he was just fooling, and he said that he was so busy in that, making again and again. What is it? The doctor asked. It's rather a frightening looking thing, isn't it? So the doctor just make a fun and it's looking a little frightened things, no? It's just an idea. Yes, it has to do with sound, that is all. So the and Klausner explained to him, it's just an idea of mine. I'm making something related to the sound. Good heavens, man, don't you get enough of that sort of thing all day in your work? I don't know. Good heavens, man. Don't you get enough of that sort of thing all day in your work? So you don't have any other work to do that. I like sound. So this person was telling the doctor that he likes sound. So it seems. So the doctor said that, yes, it seems. The doctor went to the door, turned and said, well, I won't disturb you. Glad your throat is not worrying you anymore. But he kept standing there looking at the box, intrigued by the remarkable complexity of it inside, curious to know what this strange patient of his was up to. What is it really for? He asked. You have made me inquisitive. So, the way that old man Klausner was keeping himself busy in that with that box, and the doctor who came to check his throat came to know that he is all right. He wanted to leave, telling him that, okay, you are fine, your throat is fine, I'm going. But the way he was not attending to the doctor and keeping himself busy made that doctor to think and wanted to know more about the box. Inquisitive, he had that interest in curiosity. The way he behaved increased his curiosity. Klausner looked down at the box, then at the doctor, and he reached up and began gently to scratch the lobe of his right ear. There was a pause. The doctor stood by the door, waiting, smiling. So the doctor was just having a moment with that person, and he went and kept the scratched the lobe of his right ear. There was a pause. The doctor stood by the door, waiting, smiling. He was waiting there. All right, I'll tell you if you are interested. There was another pause, and the doctor could see that Klausner was having trouble about how to begin. So he was not continuing his talk, and he wanted to tell about what he is doing to the doctor, and he is with pause, he is telling him. He was shifting from one foot to the other, tugging at the lobe of his ear, looking at his feet, and then at last slowly he said, well, it's like this. The theory is very simple, really. The human ear, you know that it can't hear everything. There are sounds that are so low pitched or so high pitched that it cannot hear them. So he was keep checking something, putting his feet on the floor, and lobe he is taking out and inserting it. Like that he was keep doing it, and he just explained to the doctor that you know that human ear cannot hear the sound which is above and higher and lower, the friction. So the hertz, that the friction of that vibration of the sound which is higher or low cannot be heard by human. Yes, the doctor said it's true, everyone knows it. And well, speaking very roughly, any note so high that it has more than 15,000 vibration a second. So he is giving the theory of the audible of our ear. So he says that 15,000 vibration, more than that, we can't hear it. Dogs have better ears than us, but dogs can hear more than 20,000 hertz, that is in a second the vibration produced. You can buy a whistle whose note is so high pitched that you can't hear it at all, but a dog can hear it. So a whistle which is used by the people who train the dogs for watching and all, so they use a whistle, and that whistle can produce the vibration more than 20,000 hertz. So that you can't hear it, we can't hear it, but dog can hear it, it. So he is explaining this science to the doctor. And yes, I have seen one. The doctor said, yes, I know about it. I have seen that also. Of course, you have. And up the scale, higher than the note of that whistle, there is another note, a vibration, if you like. But I prefer to think of it as no, as a note. So he wants to tell about the other thing also, lawyer. You can't hear that one either this or that. You can't hear, and above that, there is another and another rising right up of the scale forever and ever and ever on endless succession of notes. So he is talking about the different notes which are all around it. An infinity of notes. There is a note, if only our ears could hear it. So high that it vibrates million times a second, and another a million times as high as that, and on, higher and higher as far as numbers go, which is infinity, eternity, beyond the stars. So he is talking about the sounds which are produced by the nature which is above and above. Klausner was becoming more animated every moment. So he was very explaining it with full of action. He was a small, frail man, nervous and twitchy, with always moving hands. So it's about the man's physique. So Klausner was a very weak and all the time shaking his hands and moving his hands. His large head inclined towards his left shoulder, as though so his head is little bit inclined towards the left shoulder. So he is a man. The appearance of the man is given here, and his large inclined to the left shoulder, as though his neck were not quite strong enough to support it rigidly. So his neck is small and his head is so big, so little inclined, slanting towards the left side. His face was smooth and pale, almost white, and the pale grey eyes that blinked and peered from behind a pair of steel spectacles were bewildered, unfocused, remote, and he was having such a appearance, looking with big eyes and that. And he was so pale and white. He was a frail, nervous, twitchy little man, a moth of a man, dreamy and distracted. So all the description says that he is almost abnormal in appearance, and suddenly fluttering and animated. And now the doctor, looking at the strange pale face and those pale grey eyes, felt that somehow there was about this little person a quality of distance, of immense, immeasurable distance, as though the mind were far away from where the body was. So he did not have the proper connectivity to his brain and the body. So entirely he was behaving in an abnormal way. The doctor waited for him to go on. So doctor is observing all his movements. Klausner sighed and clasped his hands tightly together like that. He was, I believe, he said, speaking more slowly now, that there is a whole world of sound about us all the time that we can't hear. It is possible that up there in those high pitched, inaudible regions, there is a new existing music being made with subtle harmonies and piercing, grinding discords, A music so powerful that it would drive us mad. If only our ears were tuned to hear the sound of it. There may be anything for all we know, there may. So he is all the time thinking about the sound which is all around us, and he is thinking that if we can hear that sound which is above and all the sound grinding and all these things, he is thinking of ears grinding discards the music so powerful that would drive us mad. So all the sound which we are able to hear means we will become mad. There may be anything. For all we know, there are sounds all around us. Yes, the doctor said. So doctor said, yes, there are sound all around us which we are not able to hear. But it is not very probable. So why not? Why not? Klausner pointed to a fly. So he was saying that all the sound which is impossible for us to hear. So he just showed one fly which was sitting there, a small roll of copper wire on the workbench. So a copper wire roll was kept on the bench. On that, a small fly was sitting. So he's showing that you see that fly. What sort of noise is that fly making now? He is just after the sound all around him. So he is asking the doctor that can you imagine, can you hear what sort of sound the fly produces? None that one can hear. But for all we know, the creature may be whistling like mad on a very high note, or barking, or croaking, or singing a song. It's got a mouth, hasn't it? It's got a throat. So he said that the creature is making some noise. It has a throat, it has a mouth, so the sound may be coming. The doctor looked at the fly and he smiled. He was still standing by the door with his hand on the doorknob. Well, he said, so you are going to check up on that. So, doctor got bored and he said, oh, you are going to check up that fly, what sound it is going to make. Okay, sometime ago, no? So he just leaving the place. Some time ago, Klausner said, I made a simple instrument that proved to me the existence of many odd, inaudible sounds. So he wanted to prove to the doctor that, see, this fly is making sound. I made one machine some time ago. In that, I could hear the sound. Often I have sat and watched the needle of my instrument recording the presence of sound, vibration in the air when I myself could hear nothing. And those are the sounds I want to listen to. So I was recording the sound in my record player, but I could not hear it. Now I want to hear that. I want to listen to. I want to know where they come from and who or what is making them. So he wants to check the sound of the nature around him. And that machine on the table there. So he is showing the machine. This machine is going to record the sound. The doctor said, is that going to allow you to hear these noises? So doctor asked him that, are you thinking that this machine is going to help you to hear the noises which are made by the fly and the things all around you? It may. So he is believing it. Who knows? So far I have had no luck. Up till now I have not got that luck to find out. But I have made some changes in it and tonight I am ready for another trial. So that Klausner is making that machine little more advanced and tonight he is going to do the trial. This machine, he said, touching it with his hands is designed to pick up sound vibration that are too high pitched for reception by the human ear and to convert them to a scale of audible tones. I tune it in almost like a radio. So he is explaining to the doctor that this is the machine I have made, a sound machine which can receive the sound which are not able to hear by our ears, which are not audible to us. Higher tune, that means higher vibration will be recorded in this machine and be converted to the sound which we can hear it. So convert them into a scale to an audible tones. So this is a machine which will convert the sound which is higher vibration to an audible vibration to us. So I tuned it. So I have checked all these things almost like a radio. So how we hear it in the radio, like that we can hear the sound which are produced by different things which are higher than our vibration which is audible to us. That means more than 20,000 hertz we cannot hear it. So more than 20,000 hertz of vibrations which will be produced by anything can be heard by the help of this converting machine. And I have made it as a radio. He showed the machine to him, and how do you mean? Then the doctor is keep questioning. Let us see the next part in the next class. It's a lengthy story. We will make it in 3 or 4 parts.